It is now my pleasure to welcome His Excellency Mr. Tiemoko Meyliet Koné, Vice President of Côte d'Ivoire. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Monsieur le Président des Émirats Arabes Unis,
President of the United Arab Emirates, President of COP28,
Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement,
Excellencies, Heads of State and Government,
il m'est particulièrement agréable
it is a great pleasure for me to convey the greetings of His Excellency Mr. Alassane Ouattara, President of the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire, to his counterparts and to all delegates involved in this COP28. Côte d'Ivoire welcomes the holding of this Conference of the Parties in the United Arab Emirates and hails the commitment of the host country to strive to ensure the success of our proceedings with the support of all states. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, COP28 is being held at a time where the planet is experiencing an unprecedented climate stress, brought on by record temperatures and episodes of ever more violent and devastating weather events. It is now time for the first global stocktake on the implementation of the Paris Climate Agreement. The alarming state of our planet demonstrates non-compliance with commitments to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This non-compliance has prevented efforts to limit heating and warming below 2 degrees C. Island states are disappearing progressively in the Pacific. Countries across many different continents are devastated by climate events of an unprecedented scope linked to climate change. Faced with this reality, the international community must mobilize. For this reason, my country welcomes the agreement on the Loss and Damage Fund in the first few hours of this conference. We must make every effort to ensure that this fund, upon which so many have pinned their hopes, is able to deliver on the expectations of the most vulnerable countries. It is also time to urge the Green Climate Fund and other partners to mobilize more resources for the adaptation of African countries to the effects of climate change and to ensure finance for the energy transition of the continent. Notwithstanding this, there is a need to avoid a situation in which finance for energy transition increases the debt of countries in development even further. Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out for us. Developed countries must decarbonize their economies with resolve. They must make good on their commitments in terms of climate finance for developing countries. As far as my country, Côte d'Ivoire, is concerned, we are honoring our commitments under the Paris Agreement, and we have decided to step up our climate action. In this regard, my country is continuing to successfully implement the objective of reducing its greenhouse gas emissions by 30% prior to 2030, as opposed to the previous objective of 28%. At the same time, the government is accelerating the energy transition of the country with a view to increasing the share of renewable energy in its energy mix to 42% by 2030. Several projects in the spheres of solar, biomass, hydropower, and others are underway in order to leverage the country's immense potential in terms of renewable energy from different sources. Moreover, my country is continuing its project to carry out the Forest Legacy Restoration Programme and the Zero Carbon Agricultural Programme. What is more, my country is now ready to issue carbon credits from the Thai forest, a forest which has a great carbon capture capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, This conference must enable us to revive the objectives set in Paris in 2015 in order to reverse the current trajectory of warming of our planet and to extricate ourselves from climate inaction, as climate inaction leaves us all doomed. With this in mind, access to climate resources must be facilitated for developing countries. Africa must continue to appeal for an urgent reform of global climate financial governance in order to make it more inclusive, equitable and representative for all stakeholders. My country believes that this is the only condition upon which African states will be able to surmount the challenge of funding their nationally determined contributions. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency.